What's going on, guys? Big welcome to you all to our channel. We are Team Crushing the Meta, today here with D-Boy, and as you can see, today we will talk about OverDress, and today we'll talk about the art. So we have talked about the lore, we have talked about the new rules, the different things that are changing right now or that we will have different. We talked about the right deck, we talked about different topics. You could find all the links in the description section below. This one is very close to this video is very close to the lore video, but in this video I'll talk more about the art. And the big thing that Bushi actually showed us, which is the complete art of the 6 units that we will get in the trial decks, if you could call them trial decks. There you could put all these 6 together to make one big art, and this is really good because we have seen the one from the Dragon Empire, of course, but we haven't seen the others from the other clans all put together, and they really look amazing. I love the fact that all of these arts are complete. Like, you could put all those cards together and you could really make one big beautiful picture art out of them. And yeah, that's just amazing. I'm very happy that they gave us that. I'm somebody who really loves the details in the cards, so this is really amazing. As you can see right here, we see all the different arts of the different nations. We will zoom in each and every one and we will talk about them in this video. If you're new to the channel, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, like the video, and comment. And also let us know what's your favorite nation and which nation you will be picking up, because I haven't got that from you guys yet. So you guys could let me know in the comment section below which nation you will be playing and why. Alright, so let's talk about the one from the Dragon Empire first. So first of all, this looks very Kaiguro-like. They have the dragon dancers in them, which could also be Narukami-like, but you can see the fire in them, which pretty much represents Kaiguro. Right here we see the one in the middle is the starter, that's the egg, and we see that it has 6k power and it has 5k shield, but they did keep boost. So the grade 0 still boost, but they have different power and they also have different shield. We see on the triggers that they give 10k power and not 5k power, but the heal and the crit have the same shield value. This is also interesting. They are both 5k, but they have the same shield value, which means that that's the big difference between the old crits, which had only 10k shield. Now these crits have 15k shield, the same as V. So we talk about G, and we talk about V, and we talk about D. And then we have the heals, which in G were also just 10k, but they later on became G Guardians, which the first G Guardians got to 15k, and some of them got to 20k if you had the right skill. And then later on they become ridiculous and they did a lot more than just G guarding and just power. But pretty much these heal triggers have 15k shield, so they put it a little bit back on the shield, which is I don't know what kind of effect that will have on the game. I don't think that it's that big of an effect. I think it's fine that they make it a little bit less good. The reasons is that when you got a heal trigger in V, it did really make a huge difference. When you drive check the heal versus drive check no heal, is that with heal you got a 20k shield, which means that normally if you drive check just a grade 1 or grade 2, you will have 10 to 15k shield less, and then you also heal the damage. So that would mean actually that could guard 2 attacks on the next turn. You could just attack a guard and attack with a 20k, and you could take one more because you healed. While when you don't drive check a heal, you will be so much at disadvantage versus when you drive check a heal. So that's one thing that's really made a huge difference in V, is that the triggers, when you drive check them, they gave you lots of power, but they also gave you lots of shield. And it's really nice that they went a little back on the shield when it comes to the heals. When it comes to the power, they kept it at 10k. I've seen lots of people that actually wanted it to give 5k. I don't think that they could go back to the 5k. Reasons is that the shield value in general, when you power creep, it becomes more. I do like the fact that the grade 1s and the grade 2 have the same shield value. I'm very happy with that because that did make a huge difference in V when the grade 1s had the 10k instead of the 5k. Again, Bushiroad did test this. I think that's why they changed it around. I don't think that this is just like, okay, we do that and that's it. So there are lots of reasons after it, and before we sit and talk about it, we have to test it ourselves to know what the results are. And me myself, I will only test it when we get the trial decks out, and then I will give you my idea behind what did this do. And we also need to know the whole mechanics and everything. So let's go back to the art. Again, you see the dragon dancers, you see them in a grade 1, in a grade 2, and then you see them in the triggers. I love the fact that also the grade 2 and the grade 1 and the triggers are very, very, very similar as in the arts. Well, in G and in V, we saw that the triggers were cuter, and the grade 1s were a little bit older, and the grade 2s are way older. You see that a little bit here, but not that big of a difference as it was in V and in G. Maybe we'll see that with the other nations later, but in this nation we don't really have that big of a difference. You do see a big difference between the grade 2 and the grade 0, but the difference is a little bit less than it used to be. The one thing that I really like is, of course, the same as in Legion. You see that the art, of course, continues on the cards. So you have, of course, the grade 3 in the middle, and then you see the grade 2 on the side, but you also see the border of the card, and then you see the wings on the grade 2. And this is really beautiful. One thing that I also very much like about this nation is you see the new symbol, the new logo that you see behind the grade 1. That's something that you also saw on the belly of the dragon dancers, and you also see it a little bit on the dragon as well. The dragon has a different symbol on his chest, while the dragon dancers have a different symbol on their belly, which is also pretty cool, very cute. It looked like a tattoo or something. The power that we see, the grade 3s have the 13k power, so it's the same as Force, which category used to be Force. We will see how the other nations are. The grade 2 is a 10k, the grade 1 is an 8k. Again, we're not sure if these are the vanillas that you could put in your ride deck, or you could put anything in your ride deck. We don't know that yet, so we'll have to wait and see until we get these skills, and then we would know what this is. Because if the starter is 6k, which also has the ability that when you ride on it and you went second, you get to draw the extra card. That does mean that these cards will have abilities and they still keep the 6k. So that's again pretty cool. All right, enough about this nation, which is an amazing nation. I think that if I would choose a second nation, that this would be the nation that I would choose. But let's jump into the next one, which is, of course, the Dark State. So Dark State right here, of course, my favorite nation. And we see the spike art, as in the last one we saw the Kage art. In this one we see the spike art. I'm really excited to see this. I'm very happy with it as well, because in here you do see a complete field. You see the low field and let's say the units that are springing or jumping or flying. You see them up in the air, which also looks amazing. One thing that I also like a lot is that the grade 1 and the grade 2 are jumping on both sides, that you see the legs, and you also see that both of them are taking a step. Especially the grade 2, he's taking a step. If you don't know what that is, that's pretty much a rugby, American football. They call it stepping. In Dutch they call it stepping. I think in English maybe they call it differently, maybe it's the same. But what you actually do is you take a step on one side to point your opponent into that direction, and then you take another step to go into the right direction that you want to go. But you could also double step. You could also take a step to this side and then take a step to the other side, so your opponent will be like and then you go back to the other side, or you take a step and another step. It's very interesting, and if you are very fast, it's just like a movement of a rabbit. And the movement of a rabbit is that a rabbit could go on one side, and then just a split of a second he could completely change his direction, and you could not do that while you're running. A cheetah or a tiger or a lion or anything that could run fast could not really do that, but something like a rabbit, which has different legs, different type of muscles, he could pretty much do that. A human could do it as well, but they could only do it if they are stepping. So what you do is you actually run on one side, and then you take a step, and when you step you actually jump. So you jump and move at the same time, which means that you could change your whole direction in one step, which is really good. Puts a lot of strain on your muscles, but it's really nice to do. It's something that I am actually very good at when it comes to rugby. Let's go back to this. Let's go back to Vanguard. One thing that I also like a lot is that you can see that Dark Nation, normally the cards are purple, right? That the where the clan is purple. Now you see it's a little bit of combination with blue and purple. With Kagero or with the Dragon Nation, they kept that red, but with this it's blue. Why is it blue right here? Because the new what normally should be blue is Aquaforce, Grand Blue, and Bermuda, which now change into Aquaforce going to green, and Bermuda getting its own, which I think will be pink or something like that. But they actually didn't want to make this purple because maybe purple and pink are very close together, so they chose to make it blue. And for me, I'm a big fan of blue and purple. So you see right here, on the one side of the card you see the color blue, and on the other side of the card you see the color purple, which really looks insane. I'm very happy with this. I'm a big fan, as I said, of the color blue and the color purple, and you see a nice combination of them. Then of course you see the triggers. So we see the crits and we see the heal. The heal looks very good, very nice. They made this. She also looked a little bit older, a little bit more mature, but also she's a cheerleader. Well, on the other side, the crits look very childish, but look at that bazooka. It's not even a bazooka. It's actually just a rocket and rocket launcher, but again, that's just insane. Look at that. Look at the size of it. Incredible. The starter I also like. It's also looks a little bit more like Nova Grappler, that's more fighting than rugby or American football. They're also a little bit edgy, a little bit dark regular, but that's also the same when it comes to the grade 2s, or the grade 1 and the grade 2. They are also a combination between Spike Wheels and Dark Regular. And my two favorite clans actually are Dark Regular and Spike Wheels. Spike Wheels in the first place, and then Dark Regulars on the second. And with this, you see a combination of the two, especially the grade 1. You see the more that it's edgy. One other thing that you also see is that most of the time, almost every Spike Brother card does hold a rugby ball. And right here, you don't really see that. You see only the grade 3 holding a rugby ball. So this is also pretty cool. I think the grade 2 also holds one. Yeah, the grade 2 also holds a ball, but the grade 1 doesn't, and the starter also doesn't, if I'm not mistaken, or maybe I'm seeing it wrong, but I think they don't have a ball. So that's interesting. So some of them do, some of them don't. So that's actually pretty interesting. And they also have the violence in its name, in their name, which is also pretty nice, because as we know from the premium Vanguard, we of course have Violence Ace as the future of Miracle Ace. It's also pretty nice that we have that. Now you see them as well as Violence Bruce, and I think the other grades have that in them as well, if I'm not mistaken, because that's the same. It's the same characters in the Japanese, but I don't know if the triggers have it. I think the triggers don't, but the other units do. But yeah, I could go on and on and on about this because again it's my favorites, but I will not do that to you guys because you guys are also stressed in the other. There is one more detail that I want to talk about, and that's the skull that Bruce has on his chest. You also see that coming back, the skull coming back on the heel trigger as well, on her leg or her sock or whatever you call that. But you see that, and I'm interested if we actually also see that on the other units as well. And I'm also very interested to see these units in animation, because now we finally get the chance to see these cars in action. One more thing that I also like a lot is that you have the grade, so grade 0, and around it you see the colors. Normally these colors are the same for every clan slash nation slash card, but you see on the Dragon Empire nation it's red. Well, here it's blue. So again, that they have put more detail into the cards. When it comes to the logo of that, they actually kept it the same, and I think that Bruce right here has, of course, different thing than the other one. I don't know if it's also Persona Blast thingy that you have to write on the top of it to see. We don't know that mechanic yet, or we also don't know if it's the same for every nation. So we'll have to wait and see for that. But we see the grade 1, the grade 0s still have boost, the grade 2 has intercept, and the grade 3 has twin drive, and then it has the other logo in it, which I think it would still be a Persona Blast thingy, or Persona Ride thingy that you have to ride on it, but then maybe a different effect, as we know that the Dragon Empire has the effect to draw a card and give your front row continuous plus 10k. But again, we have talked about that in the other video, which was the Persona Ride. If you want to know more, you can check that video out. Alright, enough about that. Now we get to to Royal Paladins in combination with Gold Paladins. I am not a big fan of Paladins, but what I do like a lot about this is that they introduced the gold color. As I said, again, when I talked about the circles behind the grade, here we don't see yellow, we actually see gold. And gold is a beautiful color, especially if you combine it with black. And when you see that on the starter, on the units, they actually look more like the Legion rare or a high rarity card. Although when you see it on this, you see more that blue, which looks a little bit more like tech, more like if you have a mouse with beautiful colors on it. I mean lights, you see that. With Kagero, they look like they're on fire. And here, again, more like tech cards. And in here, you really see that beautiful gold slash yellow coming back. I like the art. It's very, very, very much like Royals, especially Royals from the G era, when they introduced the new characters who played it, or the new character who played it, of course, who played Altmal. So this really looks like Altmal. I think even the grade 3 looks very similar to a stride that we have got, which was the first on-hit stride, if I'm not mistaken, for Royals. But yeah, that's pretty beautiful. The heel trigger has green hair. Interesting. I think that the first heel for Royals also had green hair. Elena or something like that her name is. So that's also very interesting. We see lots of details coming back. The starter, the feathers, the colors of the hair are different. You see the heels green. The starter is more like a blonde. Then you have a brunette, which is the critical. Then we see purple as in the grade 2, and we see red as in the grade 1. Again, very interesting. We don't see anything about the grade 3. Maybe it's also red because you can see something behind it. But yeah, lots of details. Very, very nice. You also see that they have a kind of magic, as you see the grade 2 on his hand. Coming out of his hand is maybe some kind of magic, so I don't know about that, but it does make kind of a circle that you see back in the triggers. So again, that the art is really, really nice. I think that this is a very, very, very beautiful thing that Bushiroad actually introduced, which would make me very happy. And I don't know still if these are the cards that you could play these in your right deck. but maybe this is the only thing that you could play in right deck, which are vanilla cards. Maybe they are not vanillas. I don't know. I'm not sure about that yet. We'll have to wait and see. Then we get to the other. This is my second favorite art. I already said that I like Dragon Empire as a second deck that I will pick up, but I'm not picking this deck up for only one reason. That's because Fira is gonna play this. I'm really a big fan of this art. I think that I was a big fan of Great Nature, but not that big of a fan because they were always based on real animals. And these are more based on mythical beasts, and that makes it so much more interesting. As we see the heal trigger, very beautiful art, very elegant, very nice combination of colors, not too much as in it's not crowded, but the colors that they chose makes it very fairy tale like it's from a fairy tale. It's not, they are not trying to make it real. They're not trying to make it real. And I think that's very interesting because if we think about Great Nature is actually the past of this, because this is 3,000 years later. So they actually became more and more different and less like real animals that we know on Earth. So that's interesting about the lore. I don't know how they will change that in the lore or put it into the lore, but I definitely like that a lot. Here you don't really see, you do see that the arts actually work a little bit together, but it doesn't really make sense as the Great 1 and the Great 2, they're not chilling in a tree or something, but it does like move all around, but it's different from the others. From the others you could really see that they are jumping or flying, and with this you don't really see that. The Grade 3 is very beautiful. Again, I'm a big fan of the color purple, and you see that you see the legs, you see the whole art of the cards, also very beautiful. The Grade 2 is amazing. I'm a big fan of wolves. Vera is a big fan of wolves, and I love white wolves, and this is really well done with the blue roses all around him running around. You also see the small details that he has on his paws or his legs or whatever you call that. Then we come to the Great 1. Again, they put that cartoony into it. He looks amazing, look very cute, but also it's like, if you want to fight, I'll fight, boy. I'm not afraid of you. And then we see the crits, which is also more like cute, but evil cute. And then we see the starter, look very amazing. This could also have been a Kagero starter, but still fit perfectly. We also see the color green around the names, the color green around the grade zeros. So grade 0, grade 1, grade 2, the grades in general, we see that coming back. So I think that's very beautiful. And as I said, they chose the color green right here, which means that when we get an Aqua Force card or Grand Blue card, there will also be that color green. And I really don't dislike that. Why? Because if you see green with the blue, they actually look very well together. So I can't wait to see, especially Grand Blue. I'm a big fan of Grand Blue as well, so I can't wait to see those as well in this beautiful art. I do see that Wishi have put lots of details into it, and I like that a lot. Alright, then we have of course the Dimension Police sub-clan in their respective nation. I don't know about this. Actually, this is the one clan slash sub clan nation thingy that I don't know about. It's definitely something that some people will be into it a lot. I could get that. It's like that waifu thingy that people have, but when I think about Dimension Police, I do think about Dimension Robot. I think about huge robots, Gundam-like, and I don't really think about cheerleaders and nurses and police women. So for this, I think that lots of people would love it, and I do understand that. But I also think that some people could dislike it, but the thing that we have to do is we have to not compare this to what we have. The new game of D needs to be, you can't compare it. I mean, okay, yes, Spike Brothers is very much like Spike Brothers, maybe a little bit in combination with Dark Regulars. Kagero is lots like Kagero, and Great Nature is very like Great Nature. And this should be DP, but it's kind of a combination of DP and Angel Feathers, if not more than that. But that's it for me. I think I love the art, I love the way that they made it, and I also like the fact that I think that also more women slash ladies that play the game would also be interested in this. And I'm also interested to see what the lock mechanic is. It's not lock as we know it, but it's more like locking them in a jail cell. So I'm also interested to see that. The colors that they chose for this is silver slash gray. It's more like gray than silver, and I actually would find it more interesting if it was more silver, but again, we have to see the card and we have to see them shine like in high rarity, then we see it better. But for the art, this also looks very beautiful. You can see the complete art. This is one of the few nations where you see everything coming together, so that's also very beautiful. When you see the grade 2, the grade 1, the grade 2, interesting weapon choice. The grade 3, also interesting weapon choice. Grade 1 is the most normal weapon choice, I would say. The critical trigger has interesting arts and interesting. I don't think it's a weapon. I hope it's not a weapon choice, but I would say that's more like a draw trigger art than a critical trigger art. The starter is amazing. I love the bunny that she has in her hand. I think that's one of my favorite starters still now. So I'm happy with that card. The heal trigger is just Angel Feather like. But also lots of small details. The rowboats that she has above his head looks very cute, and everything's put very nice together. You can see the planet Cray behind them. You can see other stars and stuff behind them. So that's also very well done. I think that most people would find this more cute than Dimension Police like. But as I said, I don't know. I think we'll get different subclans, and we will see Nova-like units, Nova Grappler-like units. We will see more Dimension Robo-like units, and we will also see more like Link Joker-like units and other stuff. So in each nation we will have different subclans. That's what I'm thinking. Alright, now of course we come back to the trial decks. So those were the 4 trial decks that we are getting. The trial decks, we got those in Europe as well, and I think we have seen it in America as well, and both are just $4/4 €. We know that euros is a little bit more than dollars, but it's still okay because in Europe they have more, the shops actually gain less by selling these stuff because it just costs more for them to get them, but they kept the same price. So I think the prices are set from Wuxi, because I've seen different shops give the exact same price, which I think is a very smart move from Wuxi, and I hope they kind of try to keep this, but I don't think so, because we have seen cases and the cases are different. But for these trial decks, they have the same prices, and we have of course the trial deck 1, trial deck 2 until 5, and I hope we see of course one from Bermuda very soon, but maybe they will skip that and they will give them a booster box for them just like that, just like they normally do with Bermuda. Because I also don't think that we have a Bermuda trial deck, but I could be mistaken, but I think we don't. Alright, next we of course also have the special Series 1, and here we see more arts. So we see the art from the Dark State, which is again very Spike Brother like slash Dark Regulars, but again I think that this is also the same as the Violence Bruce cards, because we see the same logo that he has, which is that skull logo. So I think that these subclan cards could have all the same logo, and the reason why the triggers didn't have that in the name, the violence, is because they you could use them in different subclans. That's what I think, but I think that you could mix everything together, but we'll have to wait and see. The middle one is again from the Dragon Empire / the Kagero subclan, and we also see that from the logo that she has on her chest / belly. You see the same logo coming back, and the one that we see on the right is the very close to the mini Aichi Yu is I think should be the one from the Royal Paladin / Gold Paladin subclan. So yeah, those are the one that we see, the three that we see. So will there only be these three in that box, like the special box for only these three? We'll have to wait and see. I think we have more information, but I wanted to keep this video short about information like that and more into the art. So now we get also the boxes and the sleeves. The sleeves look amazing. Interesting to see the color choices that they made for the Dimension Police subclan. I will just call them subclans for now. The Dimension Police subclan, they actually chose the color blue. Interesting that they didn't go for gray / silver. For the Great Nature subclan, they actually chose to put a little bit of blue / purple. Also interesting, so they actually chose the color that comes the most in the art, and they put that on the side. I think that's a very interesting one. The same goes for the Royal / Gold Paladin subclan, and the same goes for Kagero, which they didn't choose red, they chose orange. But then we get into the Dark State, and they actually chose black to give to Bruce, and I'm very happy with that because I love that being black, but also it just doesn't make sense when you look at the other clans. But I really I'm very big fan of these sleeves already, and the unit and the art. Alright, and last thing that we have for you guys is of course the triggers. You have already seen these over triggers, and you have seen also some of their effects, their skills. We'll not go into that, I will just explain it very fast. The Korean mental one give extra power, and the one from the Chicken Empire restance your Vanguard. That's everything that I say. But more about the art, we see the one from the Dragon Empire, which is just a dragon with a sword, beautiful sword. So that could be very much like Kagero. It could fit into Nubatama, it fits into Norakami very well, it fits into everything, even Tochikaze could use that. It doesn't really define only Kagero. Yes, a little bit more Kagero and Norakami, but it could again fit in every clan. The Crane Elemental one is very Crane Elemental like. And then we have the one from the United Sanctuary, or now it's called different, United Kate or Kate Sanctuary. That one is also interesting. I like the fact that they changed it a little bit and didn't make it only royal or gold like. It's maybe a little bit less shadow like, but it could also fit very well into a Genesis or an OTT kind of art. And then we also see the one from the Brand Gate. Yes, again, it could fit into everyone. It could fit into DP kind of cards, but it could also just fit into Link Joker. Maybe a little bit more into Link Joker than the others, than Nova Grapplers and DP, but I think it's alright. Maybe too colorful for them, but again, that's what makes it interesting as well. Then we have the one from the Dark State. We will skip the one from the Great Nature-ish subclan for now. We'll get into the one from Dark State. Why? Because this one also like the Leader. Yeah, a lot like the Leader, but also could fall into the same category as Dark Regulars. But a little bit far from Pale Moon and Spike Brothers and Gear Chronicle. But I think because, again, these dragons work for the nation itself, you have to think about them being very close to the Zeros dragons. So this actually is dust like, and the Kagero one is drachma like, and all the others are very close to their zero strike. And then we get to the one from the new combination of nation thingy that they have now with Aqua Force and Engram Blue joining forces with of course our beautiful green nature. So it's now one big green blue nation, which has this dragon in it. I love the art of this one, I think the most out of all of them. The color choices are very nice. They chose to put the blue and the green back into the card, but also this could pretty much be very Aqua Force like, but it could just also be like Grand Blue like, because it looks a little bit like a skull. But this fits also into Great Nature, into Neo Nectar, and yes, maybe a little bit less Mega Colony, but nothing is very Mega Colony except Mega Colony. So yeah, that's about the triggers, and that's also it about this video. I hope that you guys enjoyed it. It's just a video talking about the art, maybe giving lots of what I find interesting and whatnot. But I thought this video would interest you guys as well, because of the fact that we sometimes have to talk about stuff that are less serious and more into just what makes this game amazing to us. For me, it's those small details. One of the reasons, of course, but one of lots of reasons, but one of the reasons why I like this game a lot is that they put lots of details into the card. And when you look at some of the arts, you see that they have put lots and lots of details into them, some more than others, but also like this, like there are small things that I really like a lot. The fact that you see like the two guys behind them jumping, so we have actually 6 units, but then we have also 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So we can actually see 12 units if you count the ones in the back. So lots and lots of details that we see. I don't see a full back because this is more if the American football formation than I would see rugby formation. But again, I don't want to go too much into it, otherwise I could also make a video for you guys if you want about only Spike Brothers or only the Dark State, if you guys really want me to talk more about rugby / American football / the art of the Dark State subclan Spike Brothers / Dark Regulars. Alright guys, thank you again for watching, thank you for subscribing to the channel, enjoying our videos, and for liking and commenting. As I said at the beginning of the video, I also want you guys to let me know which of the trial decks are you picking up. Most of you guys are picking everything up, so just let me which one is your favorite, which one of the arts is the one that you love the most, and when you look at it you said, whoa, this looks amazing. Again, thank you for watching guys, until next time.